Have you ever felt that nagging sense that you're just not enough? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful idea that gives that feeling a name and, more importantly, a path to healing. It's called the comparison wound. And this right here, this is the core idea from Dr. Delisa Rodgers' work. What if that feeling you've always called insecurity, that constant pressure to measure up, isn't some kind of character flaw? What if it's actually a wound? Just think about that for a second. I mean, really think about it. Have you ever been in a situation, a room, a relationship, maybe even in your own family, where you felt like you were there, but you were completely invisible? Or maybe it was the total opposite for you, that intense, crushing pressure to perform, knowing that if you stopped achieving for even a second, you might just disappear. Well, that feeling, that whole experience, it has a name. It's the comparison wound. And the key to really understanding it and even healing it is found in this amazing story from over 3,000 years ago that feels, well, surprisingly modern. Okay, so first things first, we have to get this. These kinds of wounds don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're often born out of broken systems, what Dr. Rodgers calls systems built on scarcity. In this ancient story, the person who builds this broken system, the architect of the wound, is a man named Laban. He basically treated people like pieces on a chessboard, using their needs and desires for his own personal gain. His daughters, Leah and Rachel, weren't seen as people to be loved and cherished. They were just assets to be managed. And that created this toxic home environment where love and approval were treated like scarce resources, forcing them to compete against each other. And what happens in a system like that? Well, this toxic environment created two really distinct profiles of woundedness, and we see them in the two sisters, Leah and Rachel. They're really just two sides of the exact same wound. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating because you might just see yourself in one of these profiles. On one side, you've got the Leah wound. This is that feeling of being present but completely overlooked, always being defined as the not her, the one who isn't the first choice. This often leads to people-pleasing, just trying to earn your spot. And then on the other side, you've got the Rachel wound. She was the chosen one, the one who was loved, but her entire identity was so wrapped up in her performance, in her case, having children, that when she couldn't do it, her whole sense of self just fell apart. She felt loved, sure, but totally incomplete. But here's the most powerful part. The story doesn't just leave us sitting in the wound. It actually gives us a roadmap out. And it comes through Leah's journey of healing, a journey she literally maps out for us in the names she gave her sons. It's incredible. So let's walk through Leah's journey. It unfolds in 4 stages, and you can feel her emotional state in the names of her sons. With her first, Reuben, she's desperately hoping, surely now my husband will see me, he will love me. With her second, Simeon, she's facing the painful truth. The Lord has heard that I am unloved. With Levi, she's still demanding that connection, that attachment. You can just feel the ache in these names, right? But then, with her fourth son, Judah, something profound shifts. Her focus changes completely. She says, now I will praise the Lord. For the very first time, she separates her sense of worth from her husband's approval. And this quote just captures the heart of that breakthrough perfectly. Praise isn't supposed to be a reward you get for finally being chosen by other people. It was always meant to be a declaration of your unshakable worth, completely independent of anyone else's opinion. That is the moment of real freedom. So the big question is, how do we take this ancient story and actually apply it to our lives today? Well, this is where the source brilliantly bridges that biblical narrative with modern trauma-informed psychology. See, at the very root of the comparison wound is shame. And we have to be clear here. Drawing on Brené Brown's amazing research, Dr. Rodgers defines shame not as feeling like you did something wrong, that's guilt, but that deep, painful feeling that you are something wrong, that you're fundamentally flawed, and because of that, you're unworthy of love and belonging. Comparison is like pouring gasoline on that fire. So, what does healing look like in practice? The source gives us 4 really powerful principles. First, identify whose approval you simply cannot win and let yourself off the hook. Stop trying. Second, stop performing for acceptance. True belonging never asks you to put on a show. Third, use that feeling of comparison as a clue. What is it showing you about what you actually value? And finally, anchor your identity in something that is completely unconditional and can't be taken away from you. And this is so important. Healing isn't just about fixing what's broken in your past. It's about building a brand new future, one that's built on a solid prophetic foundation.
The book points to this absolutely incredible instruction from the prophet Isaiah. Now, pay close attention to the timing here. God doesn't say, sing when you finally get what you've been asking for. He says to sing while you are still in that barren place. The command to praise comes before the circumstances ever change.
And that really leaves us with this one last powerful thought to consider. What if the freedom you've been looking for isn't on the other side of a new job, or a different relationship, or some big change in your situation? What if, just like Leah, your real breakthrough happens the moment your praise becomes completely unconditional? Have you